life, there are times when we have to go through challenges that feel almost impossible to overcome. I, too, Cam, am a single mother. And beside me is my little daughter, Zoe. Before we had the peaceful home we live in today, the two of us spent our days in constant uncertainty. On stormy nights, we curled up together in a flimsy shack, listening to the wind, whistling through the cracks in the wood, our hearts heavy with worry. I always ask myself, what will tomorrow bring? Will my precious little girl ever have a safe place to grow up to go to school like other children? That was the beginning of the story I want to share with you. The story of a difficult journey, but also one full of warmth and kindness that changed my daughters and my life forever. Back then, little Zoe and I had to live in a small, makeshift shack belonging to Mr. Shuyen's family. He was a gentle, kind-hearted man who always opened his arms to help us in our hardest times. But I knew that staying there for so long was weighing on his wife. Many times Shuyen told me not to overthink it, that simply giving us a temporary shelter was something that made him happy. Still, I could sense his wife's discomfort, and that made me feel even more guilty, like I was burdening their family too much. This place was far away. The roads were difficult, and life was lacking in so many ways. But what worried me the most was my child's future. One day, when little Zoe grows up, she'll need to go to school to learn to play, just like any other child. But if we kept living in such a temporary situation, would my daughter ever have a peaceful childhood? Every night I lay awake, my biggest fear being the instability, the constant moving from place to place, never knowing where our true home would be. And just when I was still lost, unsure of where we would go tomorrow, a miracle appeared. That miracle came from Nam, a friend I had known from before. That day, after talking with Chuyen, Nam came to see me. He walked up with a gentle expression on his face and said something that left me stunned. "I've found a piece of land for you and your child. Get your things ready to move." I was speechless. Only one question echoed in my mind. Where did he get the money to help me? I knew well that Nam lived a simple life and didn't have much to spare. And yet here he was, spending a large sum of money to buy land for my daughter and me. I quickly asked him, "If you buy land for me like this, how could I ever repay you?" Nam smiled kindly and shook his head. "If I gave you the money directly, you'd never take it. So instead, I used it to buy land, so you and your child can have a stable place to live. As long as you don't have to worry about where to go anymore, that's enough to make me happy." Hearing those words, I was so moved that I didn't even know what to say. My heart was filled with both gratitude and guilt. With tears in my eyes, I said, "Since the day I met you, I've already troubled you so much. I don't know how I could ever repay you." Nam just smiled, his eyes sincere. "All you need to do is live. Well, have a peaceful life with your child. You don't need to repay me." He even showed me the land papers. On that piece of paper was proof of all his kindness. The new land was truly wonderful, spacious, high, and airy. The garden already had orange and grapefruit trees, and it was close to the main road and near his workplace. He said that this way Whenever he had free time, he could easily come by to visit us. For many people, this piece of land might be considered beautiful. But for me, the real beauty wasn't in the trees or the location. What mattered most was stability, a true home. And now that simple dream had finally come true, thanks to the generosity of a dear friend. Once the new land was ours, we immediately set to work building a shelter. Nam came to pick up me and little Soai, and luckily, the old belongings I thought were gone had been carefully kept by Chuyen for us. When we arrived, Chuyen was already there holding a hoe and eagerly leveling the ground. Seeing that I quickly greeted him and rushed in to help, my heart full of determination. I can live anywhere as long as there's a roof to keep my child safe from the rain and sun. That's more than enough for me. The land was truly wonderful. The foundation of the old shack was still there, high, dry, and airy. And from a distance, we could see the lush green garden. We could even connect to a nearby neighbor's water line, making everything more convenient than I had ever imagined. The three of us worked together to build the shelter. Nam and Chuyen discussed carefully how to make sure the shack would have enough space for sleeping, a place for little Zhuai to play, and most importantly, a separate kitchen so that smoke wouldn't affect the child's health. Chuyen quickly went to cut bamboo, using his farm truck to haul it back. I carried my child while helping to lift and pass the bamboo poles to the two men so they could tie the beams and raise the frame. Piece by piece, the bamboo went up each knot, tied tightly until the frame slowly took shape, strong and steady. By the end of the afternoon, the skeleton of our little home was already standing tall in the open space. Looking at the frame, Chuyen smiled and said, "Helping you build a place to stay, a roof, to protect you from the rain and sun that makes me happy." I was speechless. All I could do was bow my head and say, "Because of me, you too have had to work so hard." In that moment, even though sweat was dripping down, my heart felt incredibly warm. I knew this little shack wasn't just built from bamboo and palm leaves. It was built from love and the kindness of good people. That night, little Zoai and I decided to stay right there on the new land, even though the shack was still unfinished. It was just a small patch of ground with a few makeshift walls, but to me, it was already the beginning of a true home. Nam and Chuyen said that tomorrow they would go buy palm leaves to cover the roof. Then the shack would truly become a house, a place where my child and I could finally feel safe. As night fell and the wind blew gently across the open land, I lay there holding my daughter in my arms, feeling an unexpected peace. After so many days of living in uncertainty, I could finally whisper to her, "Zoai, from now on, we can start over again. I understand that life will still hold many challenges ahead, but at the very least, we now have a place to return to after each hard day. This little home, though just a bamboo hut with a thatched roof, holds within it hope, love, and protection. From here, I will work even harder to build a stable life so that my daughter can have a more complete childhood. And in my heart, the belief in a brighter tomorrow has already begun to grow."
trong căn lán nhỏ tạm bợ, nghe tiếng gió xít qua tầng keo một veo. Nghĩ đau trong lòng, tôi luôn tự hỏi ngày mai rồi sẽ ra sao. Được con người đã bảo tôi có một nơi an toàn để tôi lên núi, để đến trường như bao đứa trẻ khác. Đó là khởi đầu của câu chuyện mà tôi sắp kể cho các bạn. Câu chuyện về hành trình gian nan nhưng cũng đầy tình người ấm áp thay đổi cuộc đời của mẹ con tôi. Thời gian trước đây, tôi và bé Xoài phải sống nhờ trong căn lán tạm bợ của gia đình anh Chuyên.